Hello there everyone, it's me Epix45 and today we have yet another episode on what if Naruto was an assassin. Now in the previous episode, I established that Team 7 is now a bit different from the original Sakura, no longer a ninja. Taking her place will be Neji Hyuga, best girl Neji for the win. So I also established that the assassin networks are... Well, I did say the allied nations are gonna have a singular network, but that makes no fucking sense. So every village has their own assassin network, and I'm gonna continue off from there. Obviously, the networks are gonna be differently developed over the villages, such as the Sand Village is a bit less developed in the assassination front because they don't usually choose that method. They usually go for full frontal assaults. So assassination and stealth is not really their forte. For instance, the Cloud Village and the Leaf Village would have the best assassin groups. The Earth doesn't really go that as well. They're with the Sand and they go for frontal assaults, mostly due to weak leadership, or rather bad leadership. So, now Naruto and Sasuke and Neji himself are taken by Kakashi into the assassin hideout, or the assassin office, I suppose. Kakashi obviously blindfolds all of them except for Neji. There would be no point in doing so. So he puts Neji in a genjutsu and takes his body off the ride. Neji is seeing something else. Naruto and Sasuke are seeing nothing at all, though Sasuke's senses are picking up a few things here and there. Naruto, having been trained by the assassin organization since his childhood, is also a bit attentive towards his environment and does pick up a few noises along the way. For instance, while walking, he can hear the forest critters running about around him and some birds here and there, so he knows he's inside the forest somewhere. He knows that he's already left the gates. He knows they didn't leave from the front gate because they would have heard something about them leaving, and also the gate would have opened, so there's a secret exit somewhere in the village. They know they're outside. He also knows that he's nowhere near the hustle bustle of the main area because there's no noise apart from animals around him. So that's essentially what Naruto is at right now. He has got great deductive skills. He is fairly smart and is really well trained with a sword. Naruto could cut up a few people easily. I'd say his skill level is somewhere, well, low to mid tuning level in terms of sword combat, and chakra levels. Obviously he's high tuning in chakra levels. Sasuke is equally as trained. Him and Naruto were trained from childhood together, both of them being handpicked for the assassin organization. Sasuke because he's one of the last Uchihas alive. A few of the Uchihas who were not a part of the Uchiha massacre did survive, and well, a few of them were part of the assassination organization, so the Uchiha's assassination didn't actually affect them. While they were saddened to see a lot of their neighbors and family members, or rather their relatives, get killed, they knew it had to be done for the greater good of the village, so they did overall accept it to be done. The same thing was done to the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan by the Assassination Foundation, or a branch of it, I suppose, because the Senjus and the Uzumaki were getting a bit too out of control, I suppose. So the entire clans were massacred with a little help from the assassin networks. Now this goes on to explain why there are no Senjus in the village, even though the Senju clan did form the Hidden Leaf village, and why the Uzumakis got wiped out so easily. They did not have the backing of the village, the Hidden Leaf, and the location of their hideouts were given away by the assassination groups to their enemies, and well, they were ambushed and killed. So essentially what's happening is, whenever a clan, I suppose, goes a bit too overboard with their power, or becomes too powerful to control and start having thoughts about dominating the village by their own clan, the assassination groups get involved and kill off the entire clan, leaving a few people who are already working with them, or who are innocent enough and are not corrupted by the clan's philosophies. So there are going to be a few Senjus who remain from the Senju clan massacre and the Uzumaki clan massacre Uzumakis inside of the assassination organization, and a few Uchihas as well, including our very own Itachi Uchiha himself. Now, Naruto and Sasuke and Neji are inducted into the assassin organization, the foundation, whatever you want to call it, alongside a few others. The main people who are invited into the assassin fold this year, I suppose, would be Naruto, Sasuke, Neji, Rito, Hyuga, a new character, Kawaki Senju, one of the last remaining Senjus, who is about 13, maybe 15 now. He was separated from the Senju clan massacre and he was raised within the organization himself and is now becoming a full member of it. Before this, he was merely a grunt, I suppose. Karin Uzumaki, she was found by Jiraiya doing a mission, and I suppose the entirety of Orochimaru's posse, considering Orochimaru is also within the assassin organization and he currently does medical research for them. He still wishes to be immortal, but he is trying to achieve them by more legal means, I suppose, or as legal as it gets while being inside of a secretive assassination organization. Naruto and Sasuke are appointed by Kakashi as their trainer. Naruto, Sasuke, and Neji, I suppose, are trained under Kakashi to be properly prepared for the assassination mantle, I suppose, the assassin mantle. By the time they're ready, they will be very powerful, but in order to still maintain some, relation to the original, I'm going to have Kakashi looking over their final trainings before they take fold within the assassin organization, and also they cannot disappear from the village completely because that would raise suspicions among their friends who would ask around and it could reveal the assassin organization. Even though they're still technically a part of the village's military, they're somewhat independent from the village's governing bodies. The Hokage knows about them, the elders are mostly kept in the dark about them, and if they ever found out, their minds are wiped with the help of a Yamanaka clan member. So it's very secretive, all in all. Anyway, so they're still gonna be doing a few missions here and there just to keep face and show to the world that yes, we're still as normal as you, and they're going to be taking part in the tuning exams and the Jonin exams as well, just to show that they are doing so. Now, from Naruto's group, Naruto's year, I suppose, they were thinking about inducting my man Shikamaru as well, but I figured the Inosuke-cho trio is already perfect, why ruin it, and he's still going to be a normal person. He's probably going to figure out about it though, so that's going to be something to look forward to. Anyway, I think I've mostly spent this entire video talking about the world building and how the organization works. If you guys found this a bit boring, don't worry, the next video will be out very soon. I've got the scripts ready for this one, partly why I took a break for about 2 weeks, alright? Anyway, so Naruto and Sasuke are approached by Kakashi, after which two take part in the bell test with Neji. Naruto, Sasuke and Neji are put in a team and are told the rules of the fight. They need to acquire the 2 bells before the time runs out, and well, if they manage to fail, well, they're not going to be assassins and they're going to be kicked out of the fold and left back at the academy to give another year and hopefully pass next year. So Naruto, Sasuke and Neji are immediately alert for this because they don't want to go back to the academy because the academy has books and fuck books. I don't know how that, I'm just kidding. Don't actually fuck books, that would be very unpleasant. Anyway, Naruto and Sasuke quickly come up with a plan because they have trained together for ages. Neji is still out of the fold and he still believes himself a bit superior over the 2 people, so he decides to take on Kakashi himself alone, because he's a bit cocky, so Neji is going to be taking up Naruto's part in challenging Kakashi this time around, and Neji is going to get his ass thoroughly whooped. Though Kakashi does find that Neji is quite talented, as his hand-to-hand combat do almost come on par with a kid Kakashi. So Kakashi can clearly see Neji has some of him inside of him, some of Kakashi's personality within him, being a bit of a loner and being overall seen as a prodigy, having their father killed and all that jazz. So Kakashi immediately takes towards Neji. Though Neji is obviously beaten in the battle, Neji's reflexes are not quick enough to keep up with Kakashi's attacks, and he eventually gets pinned down by Kakashi in a similar fashion to how Sasuke was pinned down. Kakashi then thinks to himself where the other 2 are, other 2 being Naruto and Sasuke, at which point about 30 shadow clones rush Kakashi from all sides, forcing him to let Neji go, at which point a shadow clone grabs Neji and takes him away to the woods to have a bit of a conversation and relay the plan that they've come up with. The 30 shadow clones keep Kakashi quite busy, mostly just pummeling him with punches here and there, but Kakashi does manage to take them out one by one. Naruto's shadow clones are definitely better than in the original, and his control and mastery over them are also better, so the shadow clones can take a few hits before they actually succumb to the shadows. Now, Neji is taken away by Naruto towards where Sasuke is, and all of them have a bit of a conversation. Now, Neji, after getting his ass whooped by Kakashi in such a glorious fashion, does find that he cannot beat Kakashi on his own, so working with these two morons might just be worth it. Though he quickly finds out, not really morons. Both of these kids are probably smarter than him, or if nothing else, are on par with him and deserve to be considered equal. Neji hears the plan out, he smirks and goes, "Alright, I'm in on this plan." That was my Neji impersonation. I don't actually know what Neji sounds like, I haven't seen the anime in years. Anyway, so Neji, Naruto and Sasuke then go through the plan with Naruto going with about 3 shadow clones in front of Kakashi and boasting about how he's going to beat him and all that jazz, while the real Naruto is slowly trying to position himself around Kakashi so he can get an ambush on him with his sword and cut off the belts so somebody else can pick them up. Sasuke is currently using, essentially digging through the grounds to a predetermined position that Naruto and Sasuke had come up with, where Naruto is going to be luring Kakashi, at which point Sasuke will get him and trap him underneath. Neji is also looking around the area, not really looking around, but he's providing reconnaissance essentially, because they know Kakashi is a high-class Jonin from the village, so he'd probably try to use some of the basic Jonin skills that they've seen so far, which would be the substitution, the clones, the lightning clones, and all here and there, So Neji's essentially providing intel to see where Kakashi substitutes to, at which point Naruto, a shadow clone that Naruto's made with Neji alongside him, will launch the attack on that area, try to flush him out and get him to the position where Sasuke can get him underground. Now they know that all 3 of them will not pass, so they're gonna essentially see who does the best, and whoever deserves it will take the bells. One of them will have to be kicked off, and they are okay with this. So Naruto starts by launching an attack on Kakashi. Kakashi is a bit distracted by these two because these two are fuller clones, so have more a punch to them, I suppose. Kakashi quickly gets overpowered by the shadow clones, at which point he has to reveal his Sharingan and put away his poor magazine and start taking these shadow clones seriously. The shadow clones both are using Kenjutsu, swordplay, to attack Kakashi, which is creating a bit of an issue as they're maintaining distance from him to avoid any fatal blows, which would cause them to explode. The swords are essentially slowly but gradually backing Kakashi into the place where the trap has been laid. Kakashi does feel something off as Sasuke and Neji have not spoken a thing and haven't been seen for a while. Sasuke is already in position ready to ambush Kakashi whenever Naruto gives the order, at which point Kakashi starts counterattacking. Neji is looking around the area and is certain that Kakashi has not switched out, so Neji tells Naruto that he's going through with the plans. Naruto's shadow clones then create a few shadow clones of their own, which are obviously going to be weaker, but they're going to be enough distraction to which Neji can come in and start attacking Kakashi as well. Alongside 5 Naruto clones, Neji himself does make it a bit more difficult for Kakashi to keep up with the kids, but he's still managing well enough. At which point a Sasuke clone comes up from behind Kakashi with a fireball jutsu to essentially jumpstart him and essentially corner him to a position where Sasuke can trap him and Naruto can cut off the belts. Kakashi is around the point where Sasuke has buried himself, at which point Sasuke comes up from under the ground using the headhunter jutsu, and Naruto, using his superior speed and sword skills, cuts off the belts and makes them drop right around Kakashi. Kakashi does not notice the belts drop, and a Naruto clone uses a gale palm to blast the bells away, at which point Neji sees the bells, grabs them, and also notices that Kakashi has transferred himself out of the hole with a shadow clone. while Naruto and Sasuke are starting to get a bit warmed up, Neji quickly informs them that that's not the real Kakashi, at which point Naruto and Sasuke both retreat into the woods. The bells that Neji had caught in were also faked out bells. They were essentially just, Shadow Clone impersonation, which puffed up as soon as Kakashi's clone went away. So Kakashi managed to transfer himself out with a Shadow Clone the moment Sasuke popped up out of the ground and before Sasuke grabbed his foot. Because everybody was a bit distracted by the dust that blows when a person comes from underground at astonishing speeds, Kakashi managed to teleport himself a bit farther away and admire the shenanigans that go down. Now, Naruto and Sasuke are a bit surprised by this, but Neji figured it out quick enough thanks to his Byakugan and the, looking out that he's done. Naruto and Sasuke and Neji then move on with Plan B, which is essentially gonna be overpower, overcrowd, and try to sneak the bells off of him. Neji has already seen where Kakashi has landed, so Neji is going to be a far distant supporter essentially. Naruto and Sasuke go in blazing head first, Naruto creating 5 Shadow Clones and Sasuke preparing his ninja wire to try and tie Kakashi down. Kakashi goes with the fights and brings out a kunai and starts cutting down the Shadow Clones. He realizes which one might be the real Naruto, so he's not really in a position where he could actually cut the real Naruto. Okay, so what happens then? This is quite a long battle sequence actually, I just realized that. Naruto and Sasuke then slowly but gradually start overpowering Kakashi again. Sasuke using flame ball, fireball jutsus, fire phoenix jutsus, and a few, what do you call those? A fucking lightning bullet, I suppose? A lightning bullet to essentially distract Kakashi enough to the point where Neji or Naruto can pick out of the bells and distribute it to them. Naruto's Shadow Clones are also providing a decent distraction, at which point Neji slowly but gradually pulls up behind Kakashi, rushes him from behind, and Kakashi gets caught off guard and gets hit with a few chakra blocking hits on his arms, his legs, and his back, which for a brief moment does paralyze Kakashi long enough for Naruto to cut off the bells and capture them, at which point Kakashi does provide a flow of chakra through his body, which releases the clogged up chakra ports. Kakashi is impressed by the teamwork that has been displayed by the 3 students and essentially passes all 3 of them, inviting them into the assassin fold and giving them all their assassin hoods. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, peace out, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want to see more of it. I'll do the next one in about 25 likes. Yes, sure, like goals. Hit 25 likes if you guys want to see more of this. I know this video was a bit weird as I mostly just established how the Assassin Foundation is working around and just spent the latter half of the video just explaining one single fight. This was mostly to show what kind of relation Naruto, Sasuke and Neji have and how they can work off one another and how the Assassin Foundation actually exists within the Konoha structure. Just so you guys get a better grasp of this. From the next episode onward, it's mostly going to be just characters talking to one another and going through missions, more like the traditional what-ifs that I normally do. So until then, I'll see you guys later, I suppose. Peace out and stay safe.